Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So today, unfortunately, both Bitcoin and crypto are both under attack. Why is this happening once again? Who is on the attack? And should we be worried? Let's talk about all these things and more. And here is the market bell, the best bell in the industry. Let's get started. Welcome, guys. Unfortunately, you know what? We're under attack. Although Bitcoin does not seem to care a whole lot. That's the good thing. Bitcoin is rallying up from yesterday's low. Not that we fell that far down. And we're not really far off from where we started just a few days ago. But I did see a couple headline news that are very damning. And why are these things coming out right now? Well, could it be that, you know what, maybe the banks are getting a little fearful once again, that maybe their attempts at shutting down Bitcoin and crypto have failed, and now both are gaining strength because the banks are struggling? All right, so, you know, I talked about enough about what happened with Powell and the rate hike yesterday, but what's more important is Powell said SVB was one-off, not going to happen. He also indicated that, hey, don't worry about it. We, meaning I, Chair Powell, and Janet Yellen, and FDIC, will ensure that all banks will operate and have enough money to support all depositors. And that's when Janet Yellen said, well, I didn't actually say that. And First Republic is sinking once again. In fact, if you look at their chart, they are down 90-something%, okay, since a couple months ago. So, you know, there's still a lot of fear right now, okay? A lot of fear, a lot of distrust. That's why Bitcoin is gaining strength. And let's not forget, ultimately, this is why we should not trust the banks, especially the federal bank. This is the U.S. M2 money supply. This basically represents all the money in existence, okay? And I'm talking about USD. So we're talking about trillions upon trillions upon trillions. And look at this. Look at this inflection point right here. Yes, money has been going up. And yes, there has been inflation ever since the USD was created and started really going up after the gold standard was taken off. And most people still don't know that fact, that USD is not backed by gold. But anyways, take a look at this inflection point, how February of 2020, we were about 15.5 trillion. And then boom, and then boom, boom, boom. Even though it's came down a little bit, where we are right now is 21.3. We're approximately 5.6 trillion higher, okay, than February of 2020. What does that mean? Basically, $6 trillion has been printed, minted, and distributed across the world, or the U.S., wherever all this USD resides, right? 6 trillion. And if you do the math, that's 40+%. 40+% of the USD supply in existence were created within the last 2 years. Okay, so think about that. Think about that. And you know what? That irresponsibility is what caused this to happen. You know, buying power, you know, we talk about buying power a lot, where I do, right? It's actually being tracked. It's not just like a fantasy thing, okay? The Federal Reserve actually does keep track of consumer purchasing, or aka buying power. And you could see that it's basically gotten to a point where you can't detect it anymore. Basically, it has gone down to zero. Okay? So your money from 1975 versus now, looks a whole lot different. What you could purchase in 1975 versus what you could purchase now, 50 years later, a fraction of what you could purchase before. That's due to money printing. That's due to inflation, right? And now you compound that with fear of banks. Well, no wonder Bitcoin and crypto is under attack. So you guys know yesterday, SEC sent Coinbase a warning saying, hey, we may sue you. For what? We don't know. When are you going to do it? We don't know. So Brian Armstrong basically said, tweeted out that we got a Wells notice and we may be sued in the future, but we don't know when or if it's going to come or what it's over, right? That's the thing. So Gary Gensler is on the attack once again, right? He's been warning Coinbase for years, haven't made any moves. But why now? Why all of a sudden? We don't know. Or maybe he's trying to, he has alternative motive, and maybe he's trying to protect his buddies, his banking buddies and their pockets. I don't know, right? Like if you're going to sue Coinbase, you go ahead and do it. Why do you keep sending warnings that they can't do anything about? What can Coinbase do? Lay it out. Say, hey, if you don't make these changes, then we're coming after you, right? At least list out the things you want them to change rather than say, hey, we may sue you and that's it. The end, period. Like it makes no sense, right? And that's why Coinbase is taking a beating today. They actually did really well. They've been rising up like Bitcoin, up to $80-something just yesterday, and they're taking an absolute beating today because of this. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's not Bitcoin. That's everything, right? Well, no, but Bitcoin is being attacked too. You know why? Because I saw this headline this morning. Block, which used to be Square, or AKA Square, right, led by Jack Dorsey, who's a big Bitcoin guy. He's been trying to create all these things, a wallet, a miner, and of course he's enabling Lightning Network on the Cash App. He's doing a whole lot of stuff for Bitcoin. Also coming out with a decentralized Twitter. But all of a sudden you have this major short seller company, Hindenburg Research, that announces they put a huge short on Block because Jack Dorsey facilitates fraud. Okay. Really? Out of nowhere, right? And the timing of this, right after SEC goes after Coinbase, right after the banks start showing weakness, right after Bitcoin starts rising up, right now? And really? Are they really committing fraud? I mean, Block is a publicly traded company. They comply with the SEC and banking laws and money transmitting laws. So is this even legit? I mean, I don't want to discount completely. If Jack Dorsey committed fraud, then he committed fraud. But, you put everything together, I think this looks more, the timing of it, right? It's just very particular. I think this is more like a coordinated attack. That's what it sounds and feels like. So not only is crypto under attack, but also Bitcoin. But you know what? Even though all this is happening, here's the thing. These guys are being the guys who are attacking are going after companies. Okay? I hate to say it, even though I do think Coinbase and Block and all these other public traded companies, right? They're trying to represent Bitcoin and crypto in a positive light, but you know what? They can still be manipulated, suppressed, and attacked because they're centralized companies that operate in the U.S. market. But you know what? The reason why the attacks are going after these companies is because they can't attack Bitcoin directly. That's the thing, if you think about it. That's also the beauty of Bitcoin, because how are you going to attack Bitcoin? You can't. You can't attack Bitcoin itself. This notion about banning Bitcoin, right? out the window. No one is trying to ban Bitcoin anymore. No one is trying to do anything with Bitcoin because they can't. They can't. Even the miners, some have tried to ban mining, but then other states, even in the U.S., have come out and say, hey, come aboard. Come aboard, right? And it's not just the states too. And and we'll get to this story also about how in the future, there may be a law passed to protect all Bitcoin miners because Bitcoin miners actually serve a lot of good to the communities that they reside in. So, I mean, honestly, this is happening right now. It's because I feel like people that want to attack Bitcoin, they don't quite know what to do. That's why they're attacking companies that are publicly traded, to be specific, to try to cause FUD and try to indirectly attack Bitcoin. But it's not really working. And that is why some feel like Bitcoin could be as high as 100,000 by this year. When I first read this, I'm like, yeah, 100,000. Yeah, of course, Bitcoin's going to hit 100,000. But then I reread this article, and these guys, they asked, think that it can hit 100,000 this year. Not next year, not the year after that, not during our parabolic year, this year. Because many truly believe what Bitcoin is all about. And if you truly understand what money is all about and how it's being run by the Fed and by the banks, well, that, you just know that this is the way. There's really nothing else that's better. And really, I don't even know what else you could park your money in and expect it to appreciate and outperform inflation over the next, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. I don't know what else you could put your money in that could do that besides Bitcoin, right? So that is why Bitcoin is unfazed right now and still looking strong. And even though these companies that are being attacked are selling off majorly, you know what? Bitcoin is still Bitcoin and doing its thing and about to head higher. And here's something else that's very positive. I talked about Bitcoin miners, right? The fees that the miners are collecting are growing. They're positive. And whenever that happens, good things happen with Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin is the only crypto where the price trails the hash rate. So think about that for a second. The only crypto where the price trails the hash rate, meaning the hash rate continues to go higher. And whenever the miners become very profitable, well, that means better things. That means some of them actually buy Bitcoin, so they want to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Plus, they're mining Bitcoin and they're holding all of that, right? But take a look. You could barely see it, but on the very right side, we're going from blue to red, right? That shows profitability of the miners. And whenever miners turn profitable, Bitcoin goes up in a major way. And look at the previous 2 cycles when Bitcoin went wild, right? Good things happen. But also I mentioned about Bitcoin mining overall, how some states are very pro Bitcoin miners. Here's a bill that was introduced to Congress, and this talks about the importance of proof-of-work mining used for certain cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin to the United States' ability to achieve its energy goals and grow its economy. Wow. You definitely have a lot of Congress people that do believe in Bitcoin and recognize the importance of Bitcoin mining. Because Bitcoin mining allows the places they operate at to improve their energy grid, to become more efficient, to grow, along with implementing new innovations. I mean, actually, the places that support Bitcoin miners, they love it. They love it. They get their revenue and they get to increase their efficiency and increase their power output overall. And overall, it's a win-win for everyone, right? And that's why there's a new bill being introduced. I don't know if it's going to be passed, but there are definitely a lot of people that are favorable to bring on more Bitcoin miners into this country. So that's also very, very positive. What else is positive? Well, like I said, Bitcoin is still holding strong, right? Unfazed by the tax so far. And we're still following the same pattern as 2019 when we were breaking up from bottom. And we're at that point where we could certainly break out to 40 or 50,000 by June if we're following the same pattern that we did back in 2019, right? So it's still looking very, very similar and very positive. And of course, the fundamentals, unfazed by the tax, still extremely strong. Hold or lost coins reaches a 5-year high of 7.7 million. 7.7 million out of 19. That's almost half, right? That's almost half. And some argue that those are just lost coins, ones that are gone forever, accounts that belong to people who have lost their keys or have passed away. So you could argue out of the 19.5 million, maybe 7.7 million are gone forever. And if you think about that, well, then the number of Bitcoins left out there, the percentage is so tiny, so tiny. So fundamentals, unfazed. Number of people holding at least 0.01 Bitcoin. All-time high at 12 million addresses, right? So fundamentals still looking pretty darn good. So Bitcoin unfazed, still ready to rock. Yesterday we had a setback, and today we're getting more setbacks because of some vicious attacks, but Bitcoin does not care. You can't attack Bitcoin. Bitcoin will continue and do its thing and form a new high, and we're on our way to that. And then lastly, in case you guys care, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this has been verified 100%, fact-checked, but Bankless says that Do Kwon has been arrested in Montenegro. Again, I don't know if this is true. And not that I'm defending Do Kwon. Yes, he did lead a gigantic crypto company to zero. But then how come the CEO of SV Bank or the CEO of all these other failed banks like Signature Bank or, I don't know, First Republic, which is about to go under, or Credit Suisse or any of these major banks, how come the CEOs of those banks don't go to jail for running their banks to the ground? So why is it when a crypto project gets run to the ground, yes, it's horrible, but they get arrested, but the CEOs of major banks that run them to the ground do not go to jail? How does that work? I don't know. You tell me. All right. So outside of that, overall, the market cap is down slightly, about 2% yesterday. The U.S. market is in the green today, except Coinbase and Block. They are both getting hammered at this point. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling up. Good morning, everyone from Mexico City. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Scrolling. A lot of people talking about Do Kwon being arrested. I don't know if that's actually legit news. Let's see here. Holly says, I almost have 0.5 Bitcoin. Congratulations. You're on your way. You're halfway there to becoming a whole coiner. So that's a big accomplishment. Congratulations. Let's see. Ninja asks, how about the China-Russian alliance just signed? U.S. dollar going to lose its status as a global standard. You know, that's the way it's looking like. And even, you know, the Middle East is starting to accept rubles and yuan for oil as an alternative to USD. Something to pay attention to. You know, U.S.'s reserve status for USD has been around for 100-something years. And if you look at all reserve currencies of the past, they last about 100-something years before they're replaced by something better. I would still argue that Bitcoin is the best reserve currency for the world because it's non-sovereign, not controlled by anyone. You can't shut it down, right? I still argue that, and maybe someday Bitcoin will become the reserve currency. Oh, by the way, a couple economic news I didn't talk about because I was kind of in my mode. Today, jobless claims came out and actually came in under than expectation. So forecast was 197,000 people that would be filing for unemployment, but only 191,000. So again, the U.S. economy is strong. And unfortunately, all the rate hikes to try to get people to get laid off and have less jobs, that kind of sucks. That really does suck. I don't know why you would want that, right? And if you're in England, you know what? Your rate also has gone up by 25 basis points after inflation rose up to 10.4%. You know, 10.4% is almost double what it is in the U.S. U.S. is 6 and it's bad enough. And then England right now is still 10.4. That's how it is. Let's leave that picture up. Lazaro, I have Trust Wallet. Can I connect it to CoinStats app? Are they safe? Why would you need to? I don't get why you need to in the first place. Are you watching season 2 of Mandalorian? You know, I don't know what's up with that episode 2. It's focused around this other guy that I have no clue about. Or is this episode 2 or 3? It's talking about one of the scientist guys or something, and I just fell asleep. It was so boring. I was trying to watch it with my kids, and they were like super bored by it, and they didn't want to watch it either. So I don't know what's going on there. But I don't know if that's episode 3 or 2 or what. What bottle will you buy when BTC hits 100K? I saw Costco was selling Macallan 25, I think. And it was like $500, $500 or $600 for that bottle. Danny, I'll go and buy that and drink that on there once Bitcoin hits 100K. That picture is scary as hell. Oh. There you go. Do you think Jerome Powell has a secret crypto wallet? I mean, the guy's worth $100 million, right? I figure anyone that's worth 9 digits has to have some Bitcoin, Like, you just have to have it. I just imagine it, when you're that wealthy, your money is, you know, you got guys, you know, trying to, advisors that's trying to grow it and grow it slowly, probably very conservatively. But still, you know, you want to be diversified. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? So you got to figure someone that's worth 9 digits or 9 figures has to be diversifying some into Bitcoin. How many alts? Quite a lot. Probably over 10. But sometimes I consolidate. Sometimes I grow, you know. So it varies. The money supply, this is what you want to see. We're currently at 21.3 trillion. And this is me zoomed in here. This is actually what it looks like if you go all the way back. Let me try to, yeah, this is what it looks like going all the way back to the 70s. You know, slow rise, pretty noticeable. In the 90s, it kind of stopped. And then boom. Yeah, and then boom. When you go do a tour of your setup, my setup is very simple, and I do have a video on I Am George channel that actually shows my current setup. I changed it slightly from that video, but pretty much the same. So if you want to see my setup, which is really basic, I just have 3 monitors, I have 2 cameras and some lights, and it's not that sophisticated. Now, when I'm building out my new studio in my new house, I don't know how fancy I want it to be. No, it's not a prime lens. I have an old Canon SL3. I think that lens is 1840 to 45 millimeter. But right now I'm on a Logitech camera. You know, you can see the difference in quality between the two, but ultimately it comes down to lighting. If you have good lighting, it makes up for almost everything. Deborah, appreciate it. Can Bitcoin win a fight against the Fed? Well, Bitcoin doesn't need to fight because you can't directly attack Bitcoin. That's why you have guys going after Block, and you got Gary going after Coinbase, right? Indirectly, they're trying to attack Bitcoin, but they can't really attack Bitcoin itself because Bitcoin is not a company. It's not an entity. There's no centralized person to go after. Like if Satoshi was around, you know, maybe they'd go after him, but he's not, right? So like they can't attack Bitcoin. So that's why they have to attack Bitcoin related or crypto related companies. But if you think about that, that's why it's impossible. And I've been saying this for a while. If you just really think about it, it's impossible for anyone in the world today to create another Bitcoin. You can create altcoins. You can create as many altcoins as you want. But to create a decentralized network like Bitcoin that's just run by the miners of the world and not be located in any centralized country or location, I mean, you can't replicate it. Even the biggest tech giants with all the money that they have, they will be shut down immediately. There will be no government that allows even Apple or Microsoft or Baidu or Alibaba to create their own Bitcoin. Facebook tried and they got shut down hard. So, I mean, that's the thing. We get volatility because, of course, we got whale manipulation. You got regulators trying to do what they can. But ultimately, you can't stop Bitcoin. How can you? There's no point of attack. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if Do Kwon is actually arrested. Everyone's talking about it, but again, I don't know if it's true. We need more proof besides one tweet. The Hawk. Yeah, I would say so. I say so. Red Ruble. Satoshi was smart enough to create BTC. He knew what he was doing. He knew he would be. He knew who he would be going up against, the dollar and the Fed. I think he's still around sitting back and watching. Well, the very smart thing about, one of the smartest things about Satoshi, besides creating Bitcoin and everything, proof of work, mining, and the algorithm and everything, is the fact that he didn't touch any of the Bitcoins he mined. That's the thing. You know, if he's been selling them off, then you could always make the argument, well, it's not truly decentralized, or he only created Bitcoin to profit, right? He doesn't really truly believe in the mission. But he has not sold any of the Bitcoin he mined. He mined approximately 1 million Bitcoin. It's still sitting there untouched. So think about that. Fizzle, I appreciate it. One day you can be. Or maybe you already are. I don't know. See? If you look at Bitcoin right now at 27.4, yeah, I mean, when you zoom in, that looks disastrous. When you zoom out, you realize, okay, you know, we're at the same point we were 2 days ago. So basically, Bitcoin is still in a very good position, right? We tried to break through 28.8, one time failed, but that's okay. We will rise up again, try to break it again. Maybe we'll test it 2 or 3 times. And then we will be on our way to 30,000, right? So despite the fact that we're under attack today, Powell gave hawkish tone once again, mostly because he needed to protect the banks, right? Despite those things, Bitcoin is still in a very good position because the fundamentals have not changed. The on-chain metrics are still strong. The technicals are still strong, and ultimately, you can't stop Bitcoin. And people are learning about inflation, why we're going through it, why buying power is decreasing, and as more and more learn about Bitcoin, they go turn to Bitcoin. It's that simple. All right, guys, let's conclude. Did you see Coinbase no longer giving Algorand rewards? I did hear about it. I don't know why. They don't want to give it out anymore, right? So I don't quite know the story behind that. Could be because the SEC lawsuit, maybe. But anyways, guys, stay strong. Bitcoin and crypto both are being attacked, but Bitcoin does not care. Bitcoin cannot be attacked directly. Bitcoin will continue to do what it does, and that is move forward and bring more prosperity and freedom to the people of the world. All right? Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.